Welcome back to The Big Show. It's Alex Belfield talking to my favourite people, and everybody knows I love Russell Watson. How are you?
Alex Belfield. It's such a pleasure to talk to you again. I think we're working out prior to our conversation that this was about our 87th interview.
The problem is, when I say I love you, I mean it in a manly kind of way. I don't mean it in a kind of a creepy, I'm on a list somewhere kind of way. I just want to make that clear.
In a kind of man-love type way?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Well, you have a delicious voice, and I've said this for years, and you've got this new album out, of course, which is, for me, really interesting, because I think it's a bit different. It's more classical, and it just makes you shine in a completely different way. Have you tried to do something different?
No, I didn't try, but I think that the record just kind of, I don't know, I guess because of the last 3 or 4 years and what I've endured, I think coming out of the other end, this felt like the kind of record that I wanted to make. In fact, in all fairness, I'd probably say it's the record that I've always wanted to make, and there's a real organic feel to the record. There's an organic feel to the material that's on there. The fact that I sang in the studio with the orchestra. The orchestra is Ennio Morricone's orchestra of choice. It's an Italian record. It's got Italian flair. It has romanticism. It's got power. It's got the passion of somebody who's nearly died twice injected into it. And as a result of that, I think it's the best piece of music that I've ever produced.
When you talk about passion and flair, that sounds like my daily programme. It's almost like being in a programme review. It's uncanny, isn't it? Here's my 3 favourite songs. Intermezzo, I love that. Love Story, we just played, just beautiful. And Adagio, of course, you can't go wrong with, but the problem is incredibly moving. How do you get through it? I get on tape, it's easier because you're not doing it in front of an audience, but if you were to do that live, it's a really tough song, isn't it?
Which one?
The Adagio.
Adagio is a very tough song, but all the songs were performed inside the studio in Rome with the orchestra, hence why there's this real sense of the voice sitting in with the orchestra, and it feels, you can actually, you know, when you can feel that the orchestra is moving with the voice, and it's such a fantastic sound. And for me, it's a way that I love to work that way. I love to be sat in with the orchestra and singing and feel, and it's almost like you feel this, there's like this fight between the voice and the orchestra, and it's important as well, you know, the conductor recognises that, so if the conductor has a sympathetic ear as well, and he knows that he doesn't want to push the orchestra too hard, so he drowns the voice, and likewise, you know, if there's parts that are quiet, I don't want to bury the orchestra, and it works so well, and it's such a rare commodity these days. It's such a rare thing that people get in the studio now and record music live. It's all done in Pro Tools, and it's all done with auto-tune and Melodyne, and you make Frank Sidebottom sound like Frank Sinatra if you want.
So what's the rules then? Are you the boss in terms of the music, or is the conductor the boss?
Well, the conductor basically is the guy that's the kind of link between myself and the orchestra. So he has to make sure that we gel together. He has to make sure that, because in essence, it's me that's setting the pace. I'm the guy that's singing, so I have to set the pace, and then the orchestra is meant to follow and flow and ebb and rise and drop with me. So it is essentially, it's me that has to set the pace.
I've seen you perform so many times, and you literally come in live in front of a live orchestra, and that's not surprising, because when you've got a proper orchestra playing proper music beautifully, there's no better feeling, is there?
No, absolutely not. It's a fantastic feeling, and that combined with an audience as well in an amazing auditorium. You imagine strolling out on the stage with Ennio Morricone's orchestra roaring behind you at the Royal Albert Hall in London. It's a sensational feeling, and particularly particularly because right now life has has a greater significance to me because of my illnesses, and I've got such an appreciation for the fact that not least of all because I'm alive, but also because I'm able to sing the repertoire that made me famous. And there's been a period over the last few years where I actually thought I would never be able to do the high wire stuff that made me famous again. So to be going out there and doing it like I was 10 years ago when I was at my peak is a fantastic feeling.
I know this seems a strange thing to say, but I just had Bill Tarmy on last week, who's Jack Duckworth in Coronation Street, and he said the most heartbreaking day of his life was when he couldn't sing anymore because his whole life had been spent on the stage as well as doing choro. Is that the most terrifying thought for you, that one day the voice won't come out?
If we were to have had this conversation 4 years or so ago, I'd have probably said yes, but again, having had 2 brain tumour operations in the last couple of years, I think probably the most horrifying thing would be to find out that my ill health had returned. A career is one thing, and I remember back in 2003, 2004, when I was diagnosed with the lumps on my vocal cords, and I remember thinking it was the most tragic thing that had ever happened in my life. You know, my career was threatened, and as a result, my livelihood. But then 2 years later, I'm looking down the barrel of a brain tumour and thinking, oh my God, this is a little bit different to career threatening. This is life threatening. And so, you know, the voice, yes, I love singing, and God knows what I'd do if I couldn't. And as my dad's always said to me, it's just as well you can sing, Russ, because you can't do sod all else. And he's probably true.
It is really. All right, listen, we're going to take another track off this brand new album, La Voce, lovely album by Russell Watson. What's your favourite track then?
I love Parla più piano, the theme from The Godfather.
Let's take it, and then we'll come back with our remaining moments with Russell Watson. We never get round to anything. We're 8 minutes through already. I've got to start asking you questions. All right, here we go.
You got it.
We're back on the big show talking to Russell Watson. Isn't that lovely? My pronunciation, as you know, Russell, isn't up to much, but parlo più piano. How about that?
Parla
più
piano. Sì, signor.
You see, I can do a little quando sei lontana sono orizzonti manchi le parole. You see, I can do a bit of Italian. Was that all right?
It was almost right.
No.
Were you trying to say quando sono solo sogno all'orizzonte mancan le parole?
Nobody likes a smart ass, Russell. Come on. Stop showing me up in front of my public. I tell you the thing that always amazes me about you, and I've said this time and time again, I think we first met in Manchester at the BBC studios there.
Yes.
And to see you with your trap then coming out with this beautiful Italian music with the most perfect accent, I always find mesmerising. I think other people do as well. How hard do you have to work on it so that it doesn't sound parody like I just did?
But I suppose I have to work hard, you know, but that nothing comes easy in life, you know. I think the more effort you put in, the more time you put in, the more you get out. But it is hard work, but I've got to say it comes quite naturally now because I've been doing this for a long time. You know, the best part of 15 years, 20 years as a singer, and 15 years singing the classical Italian repertoire. So it kind of comes naturally now. I've got a good grasp of the language. I know how I know the structure of the language and how it works and how it fits together. And so as a result of that, I've become a more accomplished performer, particularly with the Italian repertoire. And I also have a good flair for language as well. It's something that I pick up naturally.
And accents as well. I know you're
Yes.
a master at them. For example, if I were to say to you now, could you do the Birmingham accent, you would go...
I'll probably speak like that to you.
And
In fact, I was with a bloke last night that I knew. His name was Billy. He works in the wardrobe department of the BBC, and he talks just like that. And when I say him, he says, "You're right, mate."
And if we were up in Tyneside, what would happen there?
Tyneside.
No, why, aye, man. It's kind of like, it's all up in...
They're a canny bag of Chris, them Judah, man.
That's the thing about you as well. You love to dance with your audience, not literally, but play with them and have fun with them. I love how you don't take yourself too seriously on stage.
I know, but I like that, and the audience like that, and I make a point of usually doing local accents. In all honesty, I've done the Glaswegian accent a couple of times, but I always get one of the fellas in the audience shouting some kind of profanity at me when I do it. Something on the lines of that sounds thing like Scottish accent.
I just saw you perform live in the summer, and I was very honoured to introduce you on stage. And the warmth that the audience has for you is just phenomenal. What I noticed about that gig, though, there were other singers on with you. How difficult is that, just turning it on with people that you haven't necessarily sung with before?
No, it's it's fine. I don't mind it at all. In fact, I guess from because of what I do and from where I came from, I look at if there's ever a point where I start thinking, ooh, this is going to be really hard, I actually reflect back 12 years to that back street, smoky, stale smelling, beer spilt kind of working men's club environment with, maybe an audience of 15 or something like that, more interested in talking about yesterday's episode of Coronation Street and whether the beer's flat or not than they are in listening to me sing. And then I open my eyes and I'm at the Albert Hall and think, it's not so tough, is it?
You're not doing so bad for yourself. I'm a bit upset with you in one way. I don't want to leave this kind of negative, but I thought the only proper interviews you did with me, not with that dreadful Piers Morgan. What were you thinking going on his show when you could just continue doing mine?
I mean, obviously, if you had a ITV national television programme, prime time, straight after X Factor...
You're wounding me here, Russell. You're saying I'm a nobody, aren't you? That's what you're saying.
Not at all.
Was that all right? I mean, we've done a million interviews about your illness, and I didn't want to do that today. I want to focus on the music. But to dredge it all up, and then you are quite private. I mean, you're very private, yet you allowed the family to be photographed, and even your ex-wife and all that stuff. Yeah. Were you okay with all that?
I was okay with it, and in all fairness, it was partly initiated by myself anyway. But for me, I guess it was just like... What I wanted the show to come over, or I wanted the show to be a certain way, and I think it encapsulated the way I saw it, in that I just wanted the show to feel like it was almost in many respects a celebration of triumph against adversity, and the fact that the key message for me was, and it's a message that I've been wanting to get over since probably the beginning of 2008, is that I've been through that. It was very tough, but I'm better now. And I hope that the Piers Morgan show kind of put a cap on that in saying that, yes, we've had a very, very tough time. Yes, it's been very difficult, but now I'm actually ready to move on and talk about tennis, football and singing.
And that's the interesting thing as well, that they wanted you to do it. If you notice the kind of calibre you're up there with, Barbara Windsor, Cheryl Cole, the number one woman on TV and all of that business, is that a compliment that you're still current and contemporary and people want to hear your story?
I was completely and utterly aware of the fact that I was on effectively what is the biggest and most prominent chat show on television at the moment, and alongside some really, really big and prominent names in the UK. And people like, you look at people like Barbara Windsor and Rod Stewart and those likes, and you think, wow, they've been around for a long time, they've earned their dues, and I'm up there and in there with them. And for me, again, having been through the suffering of the last 3 or 4 years, it really felt like an amazing thing for me, because I genuinely felt I would never be in that position again. I remember when I found out that I was doing the Piers Morgan show, and people obviously saw the show, and I knew it was going to be. I felt it was going to be a good show because my life's reasonably interesting, but I felt it was going to be a good show. But when I got it, I found out I got it. It was kind of like, I remember ringing my friends and family and saying, I've got, my career is now back on track. That's what it meant to me. It meant my career is back on track. All the hard work, all the effort, all the tears, all the fighting, the return to health, the gym every day, the vocal coaching, the training, the pushing, the pain, everything finally it's paying off. All that hard work is paying off.
Well, you know you're my inspiration. I think you're incredible, our greatest tenor ever, fabulous voice. La Voce is the brand new album. And of course, we have our own little song that we like to play, don't we? Your little number that you recorded for us. Shall we hear a little bit of that now?
Sì, signore, ecco domani.
Russell Watson there, Funicular, a little version about me, and thank you for recording that. It's one of my favourite things. It's always nice to get you on, Russell, and thank you for being you, and I'm so glad you're back at the top. This album is just remarkable. Your voice is at another level. I don't know how to say that, because it makes it sound like I'm saying your voice was rubbish before, and I don't mean that.
Thanks, Alex. No, I get what you mean, and I think that's reflective of what I've been through, where I've been, and it's all coming through in the music, and that's very, very clear. It's coming through in the music. That sentiment, the passion, and the power is all coming through. I'm just singing from a different place. It sounds a bit weird and a bit kind of Twilight Zone-like, but I am singing from a different place now, and it's an amazing feeling to still be here and doing it.
I'd love to end with Ice non vivo, but I don't know how to say that one, or I'd like to do Parlami d'amore machar. I don't know how to say that one. Okay, so why don't we just do Adagio or something like that?
Actually, I like the idea of finishing with Io che non vivo senza te.
Yes. Let me go through that. Help me with that again, then.
Io che non vivo.
I've gone French. Hang on. Sorry. Yes.
Vivo senza te. Which means
I, Mr. Belfield, am very sensitive in certain places. That's what it means.
Not far off.
Really?
It means basically means I don't want to live without you. But it's the old Dusty Springfield classic. You don't have to say you love me. But obviously, that's not. You don't have to say you love me.
I'd rather not, if you don't mind.
I don't want to live without you.
Let's both try a wife first. Hey, listen, thank you for coming on the programme, and you're just amazing. This new album is beautiful. La Voce is out now, and Russell, always good to talk to you.
Thanks, Alex. God bless.
Brilliant. Could you do a couple of jingles? Merry Christmas from me, Russell Watson. My new album's La Voce, wishing you Merry Christmas, something like that. It's just generic, not with me in it.
Okay. Merry Christmas, everyone. This is Russell Watson, and my new album is La Voce.
My favourite thing about Christmas, I don't know, I love getting stuffed or something like that.
Okay. My favourite thing about Christmas would be sprouts.
Hey, listen, thanks for talking to me again. You must have somebody better to talk to. Hopefully I'll see you